Hello, everyone, and welcome to Osquery Office Hours. It is December and an uncharacteristically warm day here in Boston. Um, Hopefully, it's nice where the rest of you are. Uh, First agenda item is announcements. I don't think I have any announcements. Anyone else? Okay. Next agenda item is questions, issues, PRs, anything people want to discuss that didn't bubble up into an agenda item.
Well, I didn't get a chance to put anything in the notes, but I did see some PRs that I think we could discuss quickly when we get to that. Maybe that's at the end.
Wherever you want.
Okay. Well, I saw there was a small PR from Zach. 8461.
Is that the one about Yara builds?
Yeah, maybe. Here, I'll paste the link.
We
If
decided
if
to.
it is, I know we talked about taking a different approach, but I haven't actually gotten a chance to do that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been sort of going through and trying to review and merge stuff. Thank you, Mike, for the comments you left as well. If Zach doesn't push something up for the Yara events, I may just do that directly. We'll see. Any PRs in particular people wanna raise?
there's like a 3-line change in a PR that I think was discussed in August. I'll paste the link to that. I feel like we could probably make a consensus on this one. 8401.
8401. Replace usage of lib audit function. That one?
Yeah, you see the files changed. Very small. I think it's a
Yeah,
swap out.
I don't know anything about the Linux audit subsystem stuff, so I don't know, Stefano or Alessandro, either of you know anything about this?
I seem to recall that it was fine. Basically, it's just using like the audit rules syscall data internally is doing the same work that those 2 or 3 new system calls are doing. And they should also be present in the well, it compiles, so it is present in in the version of the library we have. So it also works on the oldest, like CentOS 7.
Should I just approve and merge this then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, approved. And merged.
Okay. If I can bring up another one, this one was about VS Code Insiders, the preview builds for VS Code, and the table that could enumerate the extensions could then pick up those as well.
Yes. Where
Do
did
we?
I?
So we were about to approve it, and I don't know if it just got lost or if we had hesitations. But in the conversation, I had tested it, worked in my tests. I think I tested it on Mac OS. It seemed like a solid solution.
I
It
feel
it
like I
adds.
mostly got stuck on what the column names should be, and then, like, the be VS Code edition, or should it just be edition because the table is VS Code? I don't know. I don't care that much right now.
Well,
I'd say merge it, given if that's all it's hanging up on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough consensus. Yeah, I don't remember any issues with this one. This is, I think, someone who works for 1Password, actually. So a coworker. Just skimming it very quickly. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. Okay, merge. Stefano, do you have any draft PRs kicking around that shouldn't be draft? Don't introduce null bytes in the CPU ID string, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we were discussing. No, there was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'll try to find some time during the holidays, maybe to close it. So finish it, not really close it. Yeah.
Sort of leads to an agenda item, which is we're probably past due for a release. Do we want to try and cut one before year end?
We can make a pre-release.
It seems like about time.
Okay. I think we're up to 5:15.
That sounds right.
Okay, let's aim before January. I'm gonna probably finish reviewing and merging Micah's PRs around the column optimizations.
Yeah.
He split them up, and I've just been slowly getting through them all.
Yeah, there's like 3 more.
Yeah. Often I review things and then I let them sit in case anyone else chimes in. So,
yeah.
There was this double quotes in the Windows installation documentation. Mike, it sounded like you thought that was fine. Ditto the default status message constructor.
Well, I said it was his change was fine, but there was another instance that he had to fix. So it was like, if he wants to address that, then we can merge.
I mean, worst case, we'll just merge it.
Yeah. Fixes one part of the documentation.
I thought that the bug fix for having Firefox ignore crash reports and pending pings was fine. There's a couple of bugs I know Collide is chasing right now, which we haven't filed yet.
Can I bring up another one? I think I had your review, and then maybe they responded, but you didn't see it. It's 8471. It's a hash executable column added to the signature table. It looked like you just had. It's from a Fleet DM guy.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Try and come to resolution on that.
Which number is that? That's the one you just pasted, 8471?
Yeah. I feel like I was sort of on the like is it meaning, do we want effectively 2 control columns or 1 control column? Like what's the user experience here?
Yes, right. I remember your question now, and I remember I was asked to look at this and then didn't, or I was asked to chime in.
It's like I have a bias towards fewer options and less configuration surface when possible. And I don't understand. Like, is it meaningful to hash the executable but not the resources? I don't know.
This is this is a reporting a hash that's already there, or is it computing it?
It computes it.
It could be computationally problematic. I don't know. We've seen that before with like Xcode and stuff.
That's the reason for That's the reason for the PR is it allows skipping the expensive operation.
Oh, I thought that was adding the column.
It's
Well, it's
adding
adding a column that allows turning it off because otherwise it's doing it. I mean, I think that like I don't care strongly either way. I do think that Lucas's point about this matching the flags that Apple provides is useful. But I don't feel strongly. It does seem like it should get merged though, in some way.
I don't have to die on this hill if we think matching the Apple flags is reasonable.
I mean, the behavior surprised me just now that there's a column used to control the behavior of another column. I don't know how standard
Really?
that is across.
Oh, we do that
That
everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean it's mirroring. There's already this hash resources column in
Okay.
the signature table, which
I
I
think
think was
that's.
also added for similar motivations around like hashing all the resources in a application bundle is really expensive.
I mean,
Okay then.
like this is what the path column is too.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's some others that may have similar kind of control.
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah, I
do
guess
this.
by another name, I think of those as constraints. Maybe this is also, but
Yeah, it's a constraint. Yeah. The
Yes,
question.
it's just that this kind of confusing thing is that by providing that constraint, you do get another column in the select star, and you also it affects the way that the generate function runs. So this just is a common pattern in Osquery, even though it's a little bit weird for comparing to a real regular SQL database.
okay, understood.
I always see it a bit as a like, what else are you gonna do? Like, there's just not a lot of ways we can smuggle information into the generate functions outside of effectively constraint columns. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about it right now. I'm I don't feel super strongly, but I do buy Lucas's arguments. Like it would be a bit of a breaking change. It's hard to imagine anyone's really relying on that, but it would be a breaking change.
I'm willing to make that breaking change for UX if we think the UX is better.
And I think that, well, what do we document the hash resources? Set to 1 to also hash resources. Huh. And how does document it? Do not validate the presence and contents of all resources. If
We could write these to not be double negatives.
Oh, interesting. There's also there's a non-double negative flag from Apple, basic validate only, that basically turns off the main executable and the bundle resource validation. It's the or of those two flags.
I just mean we could set our description text to, controls whether executables being hashed defaults to true. Anyhow, is the consensus that we should mirror Apple's UI here or Apple's SDK here?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it super matters. Well, oh, okay. Here's a question. If these validations get turned off, does that mean that like things could be tampered with and it wouldn't be detected?
Yeah, because you're not validating the signature.
So what is the point? What is the point of a signature if both are turned off, I guess?
I don't know what's driving this PR, so I don't know. And one of the things I don't know also, which is why I was asking about resources, is I assume, but maybe wrong, that sometimes resources are things like libraries and DLLs. So if you're not hashing the DLL resources, you may as well not hash the executable. Like I don't know what's included in resources, but like it might be very broad.
So the issue is talking about getting the team identifier only from the table. So yeah, only part of the. For that, I wonder if they are only interested on some columns, and we are already doing, especially on the macOS table, we can check which column is present in the query, and then only generate the data for that column. So the line returned only contains the data for that column. And so in that way, we would avoid running the signature if the signature at all is not interesting. This is technically is a third case where, but I mean, to me, from your discussion, is the case that maybe makes more sense. Like you're really not interested in the signature, and you're actually interested in the other columns, and so you don't want for the signature to run, and so you would actually disable both of them. Or, as I said, given that you're selecting only those columns that the table knows that it doesn't have to generate the signature.
But I'm thinking that the use case here is actually that you want the signature, you want the application bundle's signature, but you don't necessarily need the binary to be hashed to compare that it matches. I guess because in that case you'd probably be assuming that like, well, Mac OS won't let it execute if the binary doesn't match the signature, and so the check is fine to be done there, and doesn't have to be done like when you're collecting the Osquery. I mean, I think that we should. I think that we should just follow the Apple. Follow the
Great.
Apple
I'll merge it.
flags because I think that like people can just ignore those columns and they get the full experience. If you need performance savings because you don't need those other things, then you specify them, and maybe there's this case where you need some of them and don't. Okay.
I said I could be convinced. I can argue either side of this. So I just, you know. Oh no, there's no more Zach. He regrets merging this. Merge had a bigger effect than anticipated.
Kick me out of the meeting?
Did I?
Yeah. You didn't do it.
Just kidding. I accidentally closed it.
Anyone want to talk about other PRs here?
I'll give everyone else a chance before I bring up my next one.
I think it's all you,
Okay.
Mike.
All right. Well, there's one. It looks like I might have a story behind it, but 8486, which is closed, but it looked like it had been approved before it was closed. I wondered if the submitter got, I don't know, did he duplicate his own PR, get frustrated and
Hold
just rage
on.
quit?
This
Did he
may
rage quit?
no.
What happened?
Um,
It's like you approved it and then he dismissed the review, then you reapproved it, and then he
I
closes
think
it.
he
It's
made a
like,
new PR, but let's see. This is Sivo
okay,
1334.
all right. There was 8485, and then you closed it and reopened 8486. You approved that, and then he closed it. I just was like, did that contribution get lost, or what happened?
I don't know. Sometimes we get weird PRs from people. I can't remember if this was a weird PR.
My guess would be that like the person doesn't understand.
Well, they did open it twice.
Like they've
It was 2 weeks
like
ago.
their GitHub activity is almost empty
I think
over some years. Like I would suspect they saw that it was approved, and so they're like, "Oh, great, I can close it now," or something like that.
I bet that's a
Yeah,
good
maybe.
theory.
there
Do
was
we?
a CI build error I want to mention. I recalled, so it also may have been that they didn't want to go after it. I don't know.
It
Because
failed CI.
sorry, yeah, I think the problem is the concatenation. It's with const characters and not standard strings, and so the concatenation of strings that they have done is not correct.
Oh,
But
that's probably an easy fix, though.
I mean,
Let
I
me
think
see.
Zach, if you want to reopen one of these and fix it, you could.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, let's reopen it and I'll see if I can fix it.
I'll open 86,
The
Yeah,
second one. Yeah.
which is
I can do it too.
yeah. Why don't you just do it if you've got it on your screen?
Yeah, it's open. I got it.
Okay. Mike, you got any other pet ones?
Well, no more PRs, but there was kind of a long-standing issue since about Osquery 5.
Wait, here's a PR.
Oh, you have a PR? Okay.
No, this is a Stefano one from July. He says he wants to think harder. Okay, what's the issue, Mike?
It's let me get the issue link. Okay, I don't have the issue link, but it's the Office MRU table. I guess there was a regression that broke it around OS Query 5.2. It's a table that's supposed to list most recently used or open documents from Microsoft Office applications. Oh, did you find it? Okay. Yeah, I was the last person to touch the table, but that was like years before it broke. So I think it's something else, maybe a utility function or a change in core. I didn't come through it to find it. I would test it, but I don't have a license to Microsoft Office at the moment. And just putting it out there is something that people might be able to spot easily if they have quickly available a copy of like the Office suite to try it.
I don't have an Office suite. Is there a trial?
There's a trial of Office 365.
Right.
Office 365 is supported by the table, so it might reveal the bug, or it might be unique to the local non-subscription version. I
I
don't know.
wonder if like Office 365 includes the desktop apps.
It probably is the same apps, but just whether you installed it with a subscriber update model or an offline model. The offline version only updates like every 3 years. Well, they patch it, but
By the way, I think I'm not sure if it's on those versions they have found, but there was a change in the registry query API. So like the query key function,
oh yeah.
maybe that has affected. I mean, it is mostly based on the registry, the information it's getting out. So like I do recall changes there, but I don't know what could have happened.
Yeah, it's all guessing, but it doesn't seem like it would be hard to debug if one of us had the time and the license to the product. That's all from me, Seth.
I could tell you the 2 bugs we found recently, but haven't chased down. So
Okay.
on Windows, the programs table does not include programs that were installed through the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, there's a different location.
This is a horrible one. I've looked into this and not understood if there's a way to get those.
I think there is. We've started looking a little bit. That table today works by examining the uninstall keys where most of the MSI drops. I found a path to some registry data for Microsoft Store stuff, but I haven't dug into whether it's comparable or not. So I have a lead.
Well, that's great if you've got a lead.
Yeah, but I don't know yet. The other one
Seth, there's a PowerShell commandlet that will give you a list of app packages installed that I think it might correlate with a particular API that we could use.
Maybe.
All right, so just because I only noticed this when I was responding to somebody about publisher IDs, and one moment, I'll paste it in the chat.
Probably like Git AppX or something.
Yeah, it's the Git AppX package. So yeah, I mean, it enumerates via an API that we could probably go find.
The other bug that we found recently is that on Linux, if you get certificate information, the valid before and valid after dates are not correctly calculated. They're like making time zone math errors. And I have this from my customer and I haven't validated it yet. But like somewhere deep in those functions, it's assuming that it gets data back in like a time zone and then it incorrectly casts to UTC or something. So that one's kind of a little something. So those are
sorry, this is for the certificates table.
yeah, like way buried in the certificate utilities. There's some code that it's like somewhere around here, somewhere around there is like one of the underlying functions. And I don't yet have any more information than I just shared because we haven't dug into it beyond having a pretty clear bug report. And it does not look like looks like we're doing something wrong. But I have not quite traced my way through this code. So those are the two bugs we recently found. And anyone else find any exciting bugs?
Oh, we had enough bugs already, so I haven't been looking.
Okay. Anyone want to talk about anything else? Or should we bail a little early? Oh, another question. Our next regularly scheduled office hours is on December 31st. Do people want to have an office hours then? Are people around?
I should be around, but it's like I don't mind canceling it if folks don't want to, especially because it's a lot closer to the actual New Year's time for you Italians.
Canceling it seems fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one of 2024 then, but we'll try and sneak another release out. At least to pre-release. Okay, I'll stick that up in the announcements. Okay, anyone want to talk about anything else? Okay. Well, thank you all. I did not prep any closing 2024 remarks, but we've cut a lot of releases and merged a lot of PRs. So, go Osquery.
Well, I like to see when like the Microsoft Visual Compiler team tests Osquery as a benchmark. Something like, you're a popular open source project. You're a large open source project. Yeah, thank you. That's nice to hear.
That
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah, there's a couple of bug reports because they're beta testing another compiler with new stricter rules that we don't pass yet. Just a couple of small things that we might get to so that we compile with
great.
the latest, greatest.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I always find really sort of amazing is the number of entities that ship and use Osquery frequently without ever talking to us is just mind boggling to me. We got some like one-line PR from a Yandex developer, which I assume means that Yandex has OSQuery installed somewhere across either their endpoints or their servers. And the fruit company runs OSQuery somewhere internally. Google used to, Facebook used to, I don't know if they still do. Most of the EDR vendors ship OSQuery somewhere hidden in their stacks. It's sort of amazing that none of these people talk to us.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure if Apple still does, but they were running OSQuery on some hundreds of thousands of Linux servers.
Yeah, those are the ones I knew of. I assume they are, but I don't even know.
Hey, does anyone know what this check libraries manifest CI job? Oh, maybe I committed some stuff I didn't mean to.
Sounds like Stefano CVE scanning, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably committed stuff I didn't mean to. Oh, yes, indeed, I did. Okay. All right. Never mind. I'll sort it out.
Okay, well, a pleasure working with everyone in 2024, and enjoy the holidays, and see you all in 2025.
Have some
Thank
good
you.
time off.
Happy holiday to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.